All right, let's get a look at the morning's top headlines. Going back to Greece, the debt-embattled nation has passed painful austerity and structural reform measures that resulted in violent protests. Here to discuss the latest, Hans Nichols in Berlin, David Gura in Athens. Hans, let's start with you. First of all, what is the significance of the move that the ECB announced this morning on the liquidity as it has extended to Greek banks?
Well, it just shows to what extent the ECB is going to go lockstep with whatever happens in Brussels in terms of new loans, new liquidities, new bridge financing. So what we had just hours ago, a €7 billion bridge loan that gets you through maybe for a couple of weeks, maybe even longer to pay off some interest. The ECB apparently took that, and Mr. Draghi hinted at it and said this was one of the reasons why they decided to turn the taps back on for emergency liquidity assistance. They just did it for the week. It's $900 million. I don't want to say just $900 million. They tend to say that they keep it in line with what the actual needs of the Greek banks are. It gives the Greek banks a little more breathing room. Now, Mr. Draghi also had some important comments on Greece, saying that outflows from the Greek banking system, $8 billion in the month of June, and the total ECB exposure to the Greek situation, or to Greek banks, 130 billion euros. So two new numbers there. Obviously, he was praising what has happened in terms of the negotiation. Didn't want to get too far out in front. Back here in Berlin, guys, that all took place in Frankfurt. Back here in Berlin, a closed-door meeting. Wolfgang Schäuble meeting with members of his own CDU caucus, as the Conservative Party here in Germany. And he said no to a haircut. That's in keeping with what he's been saying all along. No haircut for Mr. Schäuble. They still have to figure out how to unlock and undo this mountain of debt.
All right, Hans, thanks very much. Our international correspondent, Hans Nichols, who is in Berlin. Bloomberg's David Gura is in Athens. David, you've been there all week. Last night, it got a little violent, shall we say. In Syntagma Square, the main square in front of Parliament, tear gas was fired. I saw a truck was set on fire. Tell us what the mood on the ground is like. You know, what people think, I know, is that, oh, this is what's happening across Greece. My sense, having been there, is that this was probably quite isolated, but you know far better.
No, that's exactly the sense that I'm getting as well. We were out there for that protest. We were there when it turned, when we saw those Molotov cocktails being exploded, saw the rush of people going each and every direction after several hours of demonstration there in front of the Parliament building. Everybody here has been talking about this bridge financing, talking about the fact that the banks now have been closed for several weeks. Eric, how difficult that has been for everybody. I was talking with an economic analyst here a couple of minutes ago. He was saying that with this emergency liquidity assistance, there's a chance now the banks could open early next week. And I know, just having talked to so many people here, that is such a big deal. That is such a big deal for them, and everybody's looking forward to it.
David, you know, last night this law was passed in cover of darkness. This morning, what is the new reality that Alexis Tsipras woke up to, missing 32 members of his own party?
Yeah, so 32 members of Syriza did not vote for this. 6 others abstained from voting for it. We've heard from ministers saying, those who opposed it, that they would be willing to resign if they were asked to resign. So Prime Minister Tsipras really now looking at what the future of his government is going to be, both the future of his cabinet, who's going to remain in there, how that'll be reshuffled, and also just what the government overall is going to look like, Brendan, going forward. Are we going to have a national unity government here? Are we going to have a minority government? These are decisions he's going to have to wrestle with here over the next few days.